Good morning, fellas. I promise today we have a short one. Ladies, this one's for you. Unfortunately, you may be a little triggered when you hear this, but if you can follow through to the end, I'm sure that if you calm down, you'll be able to understand the point, and we'll find some common ground here to agree with one another on. So, ladies, there's no such thing as an independent woman. I'm sorry to break it to you. There is nothing about you that's independent. You may be really, really committed to that idea and very, very happy to describe yourself in that way. And you may even have a lifestyle where you don't have a boyfriend, you don't have a husband. You've decided that men are beneath you individually, and you can choose not to align yourself with one of them for any type of long-term relationship. Unfortunately, if that is the case, you will find, with a little bit of self-reflection, that you are actually dependent on all men everywhere worldwide. A lot of people would say that you are married to the system. And that's because you'll use your cell phone to employ large groups of men to take care of your sustainment for you, as opposed to aligning yourself with one man who will provide and sustain you. That's kind of a wrap right there, but let me give you a few pieces of information to go along with that. This independence thing doesn't exist in any way, shape, or form, and you probably would love more than anything to compare yourself to men and be like, well, men aren't independent. Of course we're not. Of course we're not. And one of the main differences between men and women is men don't think that they're independent. As a matter of fact, the more a man can realize that he's not independent, and the more he can network with other men, the better his life will be, the more successful his business will be, and the more freedom he will have, if you want to call it that. So independence is nonsense. Independence is a farce. Independence is a psyop. It's a lie sold to you. And the more you buy it, the worse off you are. It's a terrible investment of your time and energy. And it's a cancer on your brain cells. The quickest way for you to relieve yourself of that disease is to find an honorable man and align yourself with that man in the best way that you can. The way to do that is going to be by providing an abundance of enthusiastic sexual opportunity, enthusiastic and consistent respect and submission. And your reward for that is going to be a better return on investment than anything you could ever do with the rest of your life. Most notably in the form of children and a family. So I wish you the best in that regard. So yeah, you're not independent. You're entitled and delusional. Reality check. We're all dependent on each other. That's why you see men working together, building each other up, training one another, criticizing each other's weaknesses, problem solving together, establishing hierarchies, respecting hierarchies, and maintaining those hierarchies. Here's a couple bits of information for the guys. Gentlemen, if you haven't seen Fresh and Fit do their podcast where they put a panel of the most ratchet, ghetto black chicks in the world all together at a table and start asking them questions. Holy shit, bro. You have got to see this shit. Okay? If you're white, it is critical that you spend a considerable amount of time doing some research, and in the form of watching or listening to some of these podcasts that Fresh and Fit do, and find the ones with the most ratchet, the most ghetto chicks you can, and you'll be able to hear it as soon as they start talking. There's a frequency and an intensity that cannot be mistaken. And you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the ratchet frequency. Those are the podcasts you want to listen to. It's going to be physically uncomfortable and somewhat disappointing to hear the things that these women have to say about themselves, but it's highly educational, and you're doing yourself a huge disservice if you don't listen to some of these women, because, like I said, if you're white and you want to know what your white wife really thinks, this is where you're going to find it. Your white wife thinks the same things that these ratchet, ghetto, black chicks think. Okay. It's not because they're black. That's not the correlation, causation, right? That's not how it works. It's not because they're black. What you'll find is there's a cultural infection in the single mother, ratchet, ghetto, black chick community that has now bubbled to the surface in such a way that the more ratchet, the more ghetto, the more loud, the more petulant, incessant, disagreeable, argumentative, adversarial they can be, the more they are lifted up by their own community and praised for this behavior. And that's the key, because you'll find that these women will say, very proudly, I might add, some of the things that a lot of these white women will not. And the calculation that's taking place is your wife is being a little more politically correct because she's hiding. She doesn't want to be exposed. These super ratchet chicks are proud to expose this because they receive so much reinforcement for doing so. And that's the master key that unlocks this whole situation for you. So, very, very quickly here, try to listen to the girls that are from DC, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama, first and foremost, because those are the states with the highest percentage of single moms. That doesn't mean all the single moms are black. Many of them aren't. Many of them are just poor white chicks. But the percentage in DC is 29%, Mississippi is 24%, Louisiana is 23%, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina are all tied at 20%. So those are the areas that you're going to find these super ratchet chicks are going to actually be real proud to try to drag the shit out of men. Now, conversely, you'll find Utah has only 9% single moms. Fucking Mormons for the win. They might be into some crazy, weird, alien religion type of shit. I mean, that shit's wild. But 9% single moms, if you're about results, you cannot argue with that. Idaho, 11% single moms. Wyoming, 12% single moms. So this single mother epidemic appears to be regional. There's various studies that are done about this that I would recommend for you to look at. Ones that I've looked at this morning is the Badger Institute publishing the findings in 2024 from the American Community Survey. Also, Pew Research does some great data collection and makes some good charts that are easy to look at and download, and it's very revealing. So, real quickly, women, for the most part, are going to operate on lies and lies by omission. More often than not, it's going to be lies by omission. Very rarely are they going to have this proud, very forward enthusiasm for just, with no hedging, no calculating to be PC, just loud, really overacting it and dragging the shit out of men. Because their nature is to conceal. Anyway, so your white wife operates on this principle on a daily basis. She's going to conceal. She's going to lie by omission. She's going to obfuscate the truth. And that's just the nature of the beast. That's part of it is biological, part of it is cultural, part of it is learned in school, part of it is learned in church, part of it is learned from her mother and her father, and all of those things are a massive failure. Don't be mad, okay? Don't get mad. You getting mad about it is going to burn you, okay? If you want to succeed, don't get mad. If you're curious why she's going to say one thing and do another, you're going to find many of your answers come to the surface by listening to the loudest, most ghetto women on Fresh and Fit, or Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace, bro. Kevin Samuels. Marvelous. Marvelous. Definitely watch some Kevin Samuels interviews. It's very enlightening. So the more proud they are of their hatred for men in general, the more they're going to speak their mind, the more they're trying to gain fame and notoriety for being independent and putting men down, the more they're going to spill the beans. So that's the master key, right? The reality check, like I was saying before, is we're all dependent on one another. We need each other. You can't be mad at these women. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help them. It's not going to produce children that grow up in two-parent households and are complete, wholesome adults that don't have debilitating personality disorders. So be careful with your resentment and your contempt and your anger. None of those things are going to be righteous when you're pointing those at these women. That's a fool's errand. You want to run around being pissed off at women? That's extremely weak and gay. So don't be weak and gay. Pew Research published very, very interesting information on religion by state. So cross-check this with the single motherhood thing. The most religious states, guess what they are? Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. You can't make this shit up, dude. So the most religious states got the most single motherhood percentages. What the fuck? So these places that have the most people reporting, self-reporting that they're the most Christian, have the most single moms by percentage. What the fuck are you doing? So go to your church, and tactfully communicate to these people that they've been infected. They've been infected with Satanism, and in the form of feminism. It's very easy to see. If your church is dragging men, well, guess what? You're going to have some single moms. So be very careful. Again, this isn't a situation where it's appropriate to be like angry at God. That's foolish. That would be gay. Don't do that. The chances are that you have churches in these areas that are completely inverted. They've been infiltrated by Satan. This shouldn't be a surprise. It tells you in the Bible that this is going to happen. It's giving you a heads up so that you can identify this shit and burn it to the ground. That doesn't mean burn your church to the ground, obviously. That means there's probably a guy who has started a business of going up on stage in a cheap suit and telling everyone that the Bible doesn't say what it means and it doesn't mean what it says. And if your church is in the business of doing that, it's not a church. It's a money laundering operation. It's a tax evasion operation. And so, don't pay for that. Do not pay this man who is turning your wife against you. And if you watch my videos, you'll hear me say, stop doing the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. And this is one of them. Don't throw good money after bad money. That's a fool's errand. Stop paying these men that are running a business of telling women the Bible doesn't mean what it says and it doesn't say what it means. I'm not a preacher. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not even here to tell you what the Bible says or what the Bible means. Okay? Figure it out on your own. Not my wheelhouse, bro. But what I am here to tell you is that I have extensive experience in life and death situations under extreme amounts of pressure that the vast majority of people have no idea even exist. Where if someone's lying to you and you can't identify that they're lying right here and now in the moment, the chances that you're going to live through the next 5 minutes are about 0%. So being able to spot a liar is a very critical skill in those situations. And it doesn't just happen. You're not just born that way. You're not just born like that. It's a skill like any other skill. If you practice the skill, if you sharpen the skill, if you pay attention to the skill, if you value the skill, if you treat the skill like a very, very precious piece of real estate, and you build a strong foundation and a strong home that can withstand storms and earthquakes and fires on that foundation, then you're setting yourself up for success, and you'll be able to hedge your bets against catastrophic failure that can result in your death. And so I encourage men of all shapes and sizes to do that. And if you need help with that, hit me up and I can help you with that. So be careful for these churches that have been infected. It appears that the churches are not dying. It appears that the churches have become extremely profitable. And for the most part, you should be able to tell if it's a church or if it's a money laundering operation very simply by seeing if there's a shitload of single moms. If there's a shitload of single moms in the church, bro, that's a huge indicator that they're just laundering money. They're just skipping on taxes And that ain't a church, man. So watch out. Check out Pew Research. It's a great website. Check out Badger Institute. That's a great website. Check out the American Community Survey findings from 2024. Ladies, remember, you're not independent. There's nothing about you that's independent, okay? Nothing. Nothing at all. Not a goddamn thing, okay? So don't get it twisted. Guys, don't be mad. Put a smile on your face, bro. It's gonna be all right. All we do is win. Y'all have a great day.